Ouch! The British pharmaceutical industry is being hit hard by ever-increasing taxes. New rounds of negotiations are intended to remedy the situation and encourage investment. The National Health Service, the NHS, the UK Department of Health, and the UK Pharmaceutical Industry Association, ABPI, entered into negotiations in early May 2023 to adapt the voluntary branded medicines pricing and access scheme, the so-called VPAS. With cheaper medicines, more investment in research and development, and a faster approval process for new medicines, the international competitiveness of the kingdom is to be strengthened. The new model is expected to come into effect in early 2024. The previous VPAS runs until the end of 2023 and has so far saved the underfunded NHS the equivalent of around 8 billion euros. The mouthpiece of the British pharmaceutical industry, the ABPI, is looking forward to the negotiations with trepidation, because as a result of the pandemic and the high demand for branded products, payments from pharmaceutical companies to the DHSC have risen to historic heights. Manufacturers of branded pharmaceuticals will have to pay 26.5% of their sales. That means the equivalent of almost 3.8 billion euros to the DHSC in 2023. And this compares to 0.7 billion in 21 and 2.1 billion in 22. Two American pharmaceutical giants, AbbVie and Eli Lilly, therefore decided in January 23 to leave the VPAS. The amount of the payments is almost punitive, they say. The German pharmaceutical company Bayer and the American group Bristol Myers Squibb are also downsizing their business in the UK and are slowly withdrawing from the British market due to the innovation-unfriendly situation, according to a report in the Financial Times. If the negotiations are not fruitful, investments in research and development of up to 6.6 billion euros over the next 5 years could fail. ABPI predicts that this could result in economic damage equivalent to 67.4 billion euros by 2058. In 21, companies in the UK pharmaceuticals market achieved sales of around 66.8 billion euros. Within 10 years, sales increased by about 73%. In the corona year 2020, pharmaceutical production increased by 13.6% compared to the previous year. Projected UK growth of 4.1% in 23 will outperform its peers in Germany, in France and in Spain with 1.2, 2.6 and 3.7%. The specialists at QBE Europe expect average growth of 1.3% by 26, and this puts the kingdom ahead of the Nordic countries with 1%, Italy with 1.1%, but behind Germany with 2%, Spain with 2.5% and France with 2.6%. In the financial year 21-22, 1.05 billion prescription items were sold in pharmacies and contract pharmacies in England, and this is an increase of 2.65% over the previous year. Branded medicines, which fall under the VPAS regime, account for around 30% of all prescription medicines in England. Prescription medicines mostly included drugs that treat conditions such as dementia, cancer, cardiovascular disease, and obesity. Almost a third of Brits were on prescription medication to help with chronic pain, anxiety, lack of sleep, and neurological conditions. The pharmaceutical industry in Great Britain is one of the top 10 producers worldwide by country. In 22, the kingdom exported pharmaceutical and medical products worth a total of 29.5 billion euros. In the same year, the kingdom imported 35.4 billion euros worth of pharmaceutical products. Trade in pharmaceuticals and diagnostics is extremely important for the country. Only gas, oil and cars were more important. After cars with about 20 billion euros, pharmaceutical products with about 4.4 billion euros are the most important goods imported into Great Britain from Germany. This makes Germany one of the most important British trading partners. According to a recent analysis by Cambridge University, the UK fell from 4th place to 98th place globally in terms of trade balance in medicines between 2010 and 2020. The main reasons for this descent are the VPAS and Brexit. These have meant that the British Islands has had to lose its attractiveness as an investment location in an international comparison. Many companies therefore prefer Ireland to its neighbor. All pharmaceutical companies supplying licensed branded medicines to the main user, the NHS, are subject to one of two schemes designed to control total NHS spending on branded medicines. The voluntary scheme for branded medicines pricing and access, that's the VPAS, is a voluntary agreement between the UK government, the NHS, and the UK pharmaceutical industry. Their main aim is to strike a balance between low NHS drug costs and a fair return for the industry. And I will explain how this works. The NHS continues to pay manufacturers market prices for the medicines they buy. At the end of a specific period, the total spent on branded drugs is calculated. If the total exceeds the current allowable growth rate of 2%, VPAS members pay a percentage of their eligible sales to the Department of Health and Social Care, that's the DHSC. The amount of the refund after each period depends on how much revenue the companies achieved above the agreed growth rate. A major advantage of the VPAS is the speedy process of approving new medicines for the NHS. If these are particularly innovative, companies can even benefit from a payment exemption in the first 36 months after introduction. Any company that decides not to participate in the VPAS is automatically included in the statutory system. Since April 23, it states that 27.5% of individual sales must be paid to the DHSC and has no special advantages. But in a time where they sell really a lot, this is probably better than the VPAS. And that's why they are having this discussion and companies withdrawing from VPAS, because during COVID times, they definitely had to pay much higher percentages than that. And so that's why they're negotiating. And Brexit is having a big impact on the pharmaceutical companies. With the Windsor framework, there was a lot of stuff cleared for the delivery for pharmaceutical products to Northern Ireland from the rest of the UK. And the EU is implementing all of this at the moment. They're quite fast in doing that, I must say, when you look at public service, so to speak. And but the attractiveness of the market has gotten, as I told you the numbers, has gotten a big blow because of Brexit especially. And so you always can think about, when you talk about these single industries that are all affected, why somebody would shoot himself in the foot. Yeah, we all know why, because there is a very small group of people that is very loud and has the money to influence other people that will benefit from an industry that is not doing well. When the industry is doing bad, you can make a lot of money at the stock market. I gave you a hint of that on my video yesterday with the pension funds. And of course, there are people that were totally pro-Brexit that made a lot of money with it. I don't even want to know how much, because that's an insane amount of money some of them did. And they themselves have probably all their money in the EU by now. But nevertheless, Brexit is a gift that keeps on giving, and it's a gift that keeps on giving topics for my channel as well. And so we will deal with that for quite some time. But I don't want to forget to remind everyone of the banner up there and the new channel Outside Views STFC. Thanks again for all the support I got already to start this new channel. And to keep it going, of course, I could need some more support. And I really think that if you ever wanted to support the work of Outside Views, support Outside Views STFC as at the moment would be the nicest thing to do in this case. And if you haven't been over there, come and have a look. Maybe even if you thought it's a topic you're absolutely not interested in, maybe it might intrigue you. And I'll see you in my next video. I'll be back.